Super Bowl Sunday right here on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Chiefs, Eagles coming up later today in New Orleans. And joining us right now is one of the stars of the NFL Network, Akbar Gbaja-Biamila.
Hey!
Akbar, I get you on a radio show every single year.
Yeah.
But, man, I am excited to talk to you about not only just your career, but this game on Sunday, because you've been all over both these teams all year, covering it on NFL Network now.
Yeah, I have. And it's been really, really exciting to kind of see. This is it. This is the culmination of, 17 weeks of football, the playoffs, and here we are. Since day one, I said Kansas City Chiefs, we're going to win this game. They were going to be the first time ever three-peat champion in NFL history. And I really want to just kind of encourage people out there to really kind of take this in. No matter where you sit in, if you're an Eagles fan, a Broncos fan, whoever you root for, really take this in, because, I think back to those moments where we have some sort of, constellation thing that we've never seen before. How many times have we said, hey, today there's going to be the moon that you're never going to see for 100 years, or there's going to be a star that you haven't seen for 100 years. We're never going to see this moment again in our lifetime. The opportunity to see a team three-peat and to watch that happen in the NFL. The NFL, through the salary cap, through the way the draft is set up, everything, the way they have everything set up is set up for parity. And you're not supposed to have a dominant team like this. It's not the richest team. It's not going to be the team stacked up with the most talent, right? There's so many different things that go into making sure that the teams are fair and everybody is equally matched. And somehow the Kansas City Chiefs have found a way. So I say appreciate this moment. A lot of people want to depreciate the moment by saying it's cheating going on and there's this and the refs and all this, whatever these conspiracy theories are. They're really wild right now. It's getting really crazy. And this doesn't take away from the fact that what the Philadelphia Eagles have done this season has been remarkable. You think about the early start, 2-2, Nick Sirianni flipping that thing around. Wasn't that long ago where they were out there saying that Nick Sirianni shouldn't be the head coach anymore. What? It's because he doesn't fit the mold. He's not for everyone, right? He's not for everyone. But I love that we're branching out and we're not necessarily putting everyone into a box. If you're a coach, you have to speak a certain way. You have to Nick Sirianni ain't that dude. And I think the people in the locker room, the players, they respect him because he's authentic. We're in this age of authenticity. People want to see that. And so it's so cool that you've got this non-traditional type of coach in Nick Sirianni going up against this old veteran in Andy Reid, and the way they are going to scheme around each other. You've got the veteran presence of Vic Fangio and Steve Spagnuolo on the respective defensive side. There's so many cool storylines here in this game that I absolutely love and I'm looking forward to.
Akbar Gbaja-Biamila with us here on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Jake Asman with you till 3 Eastern today. I mean, Akbar, you brought up Nick Sirianni. How about the fact if the Eagles do win this game later today, Nick Sirianni gets a win over the old Eagles coach, Andy Reid, and what that would do for Sirianni's legacy and what it means for what he would accomplish after everything you alluded to.
Yeah.
Fans questioning if he was the right guy, despite the record being incredible. Even going into this year, the record was great. But everything he's been through to get to this point, what that will do for Nick Sirianni and his reputation amongst the better coaches in the league.
I'm not going to lie. Even with me saying that, I believe that the Kansas City Chiefs will win, I think that would be so dope. I think it would be so special for so many reasons. One, Saquon Barkley and the year that he's had to have that payoff. He wasn't able to get the all-time single-season rushing record. But to be able to rush for 2,000-plus yards, to go out there and potentially today needs 30 yards to become the all-time and all, for the entire season, including the playoffs and Super Bowl, to be able to break Terrell Davis's record, that would be special. I think it also pays off to the work that Howie Roseman has done in putting together a team that is a little different from what we saw in Super Bowl 57. But it's not just different, it's the people he used to plug in the spot. And I love Howie Roseman for this because I think of Mekhi Becton. People may or may not realize that, Saquon Barkley rushed for 2,000 yards, but that was behind an offensive line in Mekhi Becton at that guard position where he was playing out of position at the tackle position. They move him into guard where he's supposed to be and understanding where his strengths are. So many times people, executives and talent scouts and all these other people, they say, oh, you struggled here, I'm cool. They don't believe in developing and working and really trying to figure out where you work in. Think about Zach Bond coming over from right here in New Orleans, and look at the year he's had and where he wasn't able to have that type of production in New Orleans. But he comes over, you put him in the right situation, you have people that believe in the talent, and they allow him to flourish. He's gone through some of his ups and downs, but ultimately they let him play ball, and he was out there to go out there. You think about the cornerbacks. You bring in young guys, Cooper DeJean. You think about Quinyon Mitchell. You think about what he's done. Like, you really took, and Howie Roseman took calculated risk, but real risk to be able to get this team back to where they are, and that deserves a lot of credit because it's so easy as a general manager to go, you know what? And remember, he got a lot of heat for the Chip Kelly thing, right?
Sure.
He took risks, but he said, you know what? I believe, because sometimes the real ones, they say scared money don't make money. He ain't scared. So he went out there and he took a risk on all those single players and even a risk on Saquon Barkley. It's so easy for people. Oh, I'm getting pumped up. Why am I getting so pumped up?
I love it. It's Super Bowl Sunday. We're fired up.
I'm so pumped up because so many people forget now because Saquon's when people are, oh, I don't remember. I never said that. There were so many people who said Saquon is on the back end of his career.
Right.
Oh,
you can't pay a running back.
He can't be a running back. He's 26, 27, whatever. This is it. No. Now look at you, right? So for all those people who think they want to put you in a box, and this is for anybody out there who's even in the workplace and they're going through something where they want to put you in a box, you tell them, you can't put me in a box. You can't break me because you didn't make me. And Howie Roseman understands that, and he believes in that. And so I love what they put together with the Philadelphia Eagles. You know what I mean? Like, he took a risk, and it's paid off big time. So I think it would be a huge nod to Sirianni and Howie Roseman.
When it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs, right?
Yep.
You reference people out there having Chiefs fatigue.
Yep.
I'm curious, as they're trying to do something that has never been done, it'd be one of the greatest accomplishments in the history of sports to three-peat in the modern NFL. Do you think they feel that pressure? There's pressure on the Eagles, too. You're in the Super Bowl. I get all that. But I'm based in New York. I remember that feeling watching the 07 Patriots and the greatest team ever, the undefeated season. And they had this historic offense. They only put up 14 total points in Super Bowl 42. And Eli Manning and David Tyree, they did the rest that day. Do you think there could be a similar type of pressure on Kansas City? Are they going to feel it going up against a really, really talented Philadelphia Eagles team?
Well, I think if anything, it's this season that is the telltale story of how they handle pressure. They have played better than anybody in the NFL situational football that has been great. And so the pressure is real. They're human beings. I don't care what anybody says. They feel the pressure. But it's what you do with that pressure is what determines the outcome, because some people can be overwhelmed and overcome by the pressure. But what I've seen over and over and over again this season is that the Kansas City Chiefs have gone out and won games by 1 point, by one score. And they go out there and they're winning by these one scores. And these games have been really, really close. And yet they find a way in those last minutes, in those situations, to be able to take over. That is preparation. They say the great ones adjust, and that's what the Kansas City Chiefs do very, very well. They adjust when things get tight, when pressure starts to build up. They know how to adjust and self-regulate. So if you can't self-regulate in this game, in this big moment tonight, forget about it. Forget about it.
We're talking with Akbar Gbaja-Biamila right here on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Super Bowl Sunday, Jake Asman with you here until 3 Eastern time. Before we get to why you're here with Experian and what you're doing with them, I'm curious. Give me an X factor for each side. If I say to you, Akbar, the Eagles win if this happens, the Chiefs win if this happens, fill in the blank.
Okay, so the Chiefs win if this happens. If Mike Caliendo, who, from a editorial standpoint, everybody wants to talk about, the media gets so caught up in the editorial, aspect of things, is Mike Caliendo being able to stop Jalen Carter from being disruptive. I'm very, very concerned in what he's been able to do, Jalen Carter, and how disruptive he's been all season long. And so here you have Tooney, who's moved out from guard out to tackle. You bring in a guy who a lot of people haven't really been talking about, but he's playing in this position where here's a guy that was on the practice squad that gets elevated. He's had his ups and his downs, and now here he is starting in the Super Bowl. That's a big-time matchup, and if he can contain him from being disruptive, it allows your guy, Patrick Mahomes, to be able to do what he does best. So I think there's one X factor, right? It's not a traditional X factor. And I think on the other end, I think it's really going to come down to the X factor of being able for Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts has to have his best game
He
ever.
played great when they played 2 years ago in this game.
He played amazing. He has to have that type of game. But now it's a different type of offense in that everything runs through Saquon Barkley. And so being able, if Steve Spagnuolo, who's been really, really good in being able to stop, productive offenses and really having a really good game plan, he'll be the first defensive coordinator in NFL history to get 4 Super Bowl rings if he gets this one. You look at that and see his adjustments. I'd say Jalen Hurts has to play out of his mind. He has to play out of his mind. He has to be the legitimate threat. I think the RPO could be a really big factor in the way they utilize his running ability, because remember, he was the leading rusher in Super Bowl 57. Now you have Saquon Barkley. That's not going to happen, right? And we're not going to have that in this game. So those two together, being able to really make that defense think about who the heck is going to run the ball, because that's how they're going to do it. Eat up the clock, time of possession, and be able to dominate in the red zone.
Tell us about Experian.
I love Experian. I've had this relationship now for 6 years, and it's been really, really cool. It really is something that's important to me about helping people with finances and just being, financially literate and really putting themselves in a different way. I think when people think of Experian, they just think of their credit scores, but that's part of it. But Experian has Experian Boost that allows people to self-report their utility bills, their streaming services that they're paying for, like Hulu and Netflix. They can self-report that, and it gives them the ability to boost their credit score. Get it? Experian Boost. You get to boost your credit score. But the other cool feature is they now have it to where Experian it gives you the opportunity to get rid of unwanted subscriptions. We all have it. I challenge anyone to go through their phone and see if they can just have less than one page on their phone. Nobody has it. You pull up your phone right now, I bet you have
no chance.
4 or 5 pages,
Easily.
right?
Probably
apps
more.
that you don't even use, but we download them, and some of them we're paying for and we don't realize it. You go through and you're like, I don't even know which one. I don't even know how to figure this out. Well, Experian has a feature where they can go through and they can help negotiate. They can help stop those payments of things that you're not utilizing anymore. And I think when people think of saving money, they think saving money is just getting your paycheck and putting some money aside. It's also being able to protect your blind side of how you're being attacked financially with these subscription models, and having somebody who's going to be out there looking for where the pressure is coming from. Experian is that left tackle that we all need in our life. So go to Experian.com right now if you're tired of paying for these subscriptions, because on average, people are paying about $1,000 a year in subscriptions that they're not utilizing. So go out there and handle your business. Experian.com. Do it now.
Pick for Sunday. You like the Chiefs. Give us a score. Who's the MVP?
Here we go. 28-21. I'm going with a non-traditional MVP. Travis Kelce.
Tight end.
I think
it's plus 1,600 if anyone wants to make that bet.
Tight end. He's not had the big year that everybody's been talking about. But I look what Zach Ertz did against the Eagles in that NFC Championship, and I've got this funny feeling that Travis Kelce is going to go off. I know people are looking at me, you're crazy. It's never happened before, and people want to be real snarky with my pick. When it happens, you'll go, Akbar was the only one to call that. Can you blast that on all the social media? You got to blast it out there, because I think I'm going to nail it. It's going to be 28-21. Travis Kelce, your MVP.
Does he retire, go off into the sunset, propose to Taylor Swift? I mean, you're seeing the future, Akbar.
Taylor too big time. You better not propose to me in front of all these people. We're going to have our own special moment. So,
there you have it. Akbar Gbaja-Biamila. You watch him on the NFL Network all the time. Really appreciate you doing this. Always great to see you.
Right, thanks a lot.
Quick break. We'll continue. It's Jake Asman with you on Super Sunday right here on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Sirius XM, Channel 82.